Dwana Bonner is an absolute legend. And this is one of the lowest of the low things that I've seen in sports.
When the Indiana Fever signed Dana Bonner, it wasn't just another offseason move. This was meant to be a cornerstone decision, an experienced leader brought in to anchor a rising team full of young talent.
I think for the challenge for myself going forward is just, continue to pour into every other aspect of the game, and I can continue to have an impact in, all those other areas. I thought I got to the rim well. It was just, certainly a tough shooting night, and, you got to find a way to continue to shoot and remain confident in myself, because I know I put the time in. But for me, I don't feel like it's, anything that's off necessarily, but it'd be nice.
Dana had the kind of resume most players only dream of. Multiple All-Star selections, a championship pedigree, and a calm, confident voice in high-pressure moments. She was exactly what the Fever needed to support Caitlin Clark, one of the league's brightest new stars who had yet to find her footing in the storm of WNBA expectations. Dana spoke with the poise of a mentor, promising to share her knowledge, uplift the younger players, and help them chase greatness. The fan base bought in immediately. Jerseys were sold, tributes were made, and a new hope settled over Gainbridge Fieldhouse. This was supposed to be the missing piece.
I guess to that point, how does this kind of compare to what you are used to?
Oh man, yeah, totally different atmosphere. The support here has been just phenomenal. I really can't go anywhere. I've been here like a week and a half, and everywhere I go, it's just like, we're excited for the season. Thank you for being here. So it's been really, really refreshing. And,
you get that on the streets?
I'm sorry?
You get that on the streets?
Yeah, everywhere I go, it's just, can't even go to the grocery store without someone saying how excited they are. So it's just been really refreshing. I'm excited to be here.
The start looked promising. Dana moved up to third on the WNBA's all-time scoring list during a dominant win over the Chicago Sky. It was the kind of game that made fans believe. But almost immediately after that milestone, something shifted. Dana's production dropped sharply, averaging just 7 points per game, less than half her usual output. Critics started whispering, was she slowing down? Had the team miscalculated? But it wasn't just about the numbers. Her body language looked different. The energy she once carried into every game started to flicker, and so did the chemistry that was supposed to glue the team together. Behind the scenes, questions began piling up, and nobody had clear answers.
Multiple league insiders are reporting to Annie Costabile, of course Annie Costabile is breaking this news, of Front Office Sports that Dwana Bonner has quote-unquote no interest in returning to the Indiana Fever. Instead, wanting to be in landing spots with either the Phoenix Mercury or the Atlanta Dream.
Then, without warning, Dana vanished from the lineup. The official reason? Personal matters. But the timing was suspicious. Her absence started just as Caitlin Clark returned from an injury, and it came with no details. No injury report, no expected timeline, no formal update from the team. At first, fans assumed the worst. Maybe a family emergency or a health issue. In a league known for transparency, the total silence from both the team and Dana herself only made things feel more mysterious. The longer she stayed away, the louder the rumors became.
And also joining a team that's just impressive. I think everybody's seen the second half of their season, and it was an unbelievable season. And I just felt like they had a dynamic core, and I just wanted to be another puzzle piece into what they had. And hopefully I can give my knowledge, my leadership, and give it to these young players. So when I retire, they can pass it along. So I feel like they're young, but I also feel like they're a great young. They don't need too much coaching and too much leadership. They kind of figure it out themselves, and I'm just hoping that I can add to it and make basketball a little easier for them, and as well they can make it a little easier for me.
As days turned into games, and Dana still hadn't returned, fans took matters into their own hands. They noticed that Dana had scrubbed most Fever-related content from her social media. Her jersey suddenly became unavailable in the team store. Even her image, once proudly displayed inside the arena, appeared to be missing. Was it all coincidence? Probably not. Still, the team stayed quiet. They offered support for Dana's situation, but no real details. That vacuum of information sparked a wildfire of speculation. And fans were no longer asking, when will she come back? They were asking, did she ever really want to be here?
She said, I want to sincerely thank the Indiana Fever for the opportunity to be part of the Fever franchise. Despite our shared goals and excitement heading into the season, I felt the fit did not work out, and I appreciate the organization's willingness to grant my request to move on, particularly at this point in my career. I wish the Fever great success as they continue to build around this dynamic group of young players.
Dana Bonner came in talking about championships and leadership. She was going to show the young team how it's done. But now, that entire image was cracking. New reports surfaced claiming Dana had no interest in returning to Indiana. Her preferred destinations? Phoenix or Atlanta, teams that, according to insiders, better matched her personal goals. And just like that, everything the fans had believed about Dana's role was called into question. She wasn't on the bench, she wasn't checking in, and she certainly wasn't acting like the veteran leader she was signed to be. The transformation from locker room pillar to absentee presence was swift and painful.
When DeWanna signed with the team, she said at this point in her career, she's playing for championships and obviously have championship experience in those veterans they brought in. How much does that get to add to the culture or just what it takes to win at a high level?
Yeah, I mean, DB has been tremendous. Like, she's such a selfless leader. Like, she's here to win. She says that, but she really means it.
As the speculation reached its peak, Dana made an unexpected move. She posted on Instagram during a Fever game. For someone who rarely uses social media, the timing couldn't have felt more off. While her teammates were battling it out on the court, and while fans were still worried about her well-being, Dana posted casually as if nothing was wrong. It wasn't a post about the team, about gratitude, or even about herself. It was just a fun late-night drop. And that rubbed people the wrong way. At best, it was tone-deaf. At worst, it confirmed what fans feared. Dana wasn't coming back.
You guys remember what Alyssa Thomas said about the Indiana Fever fan base last year? And all the things that she heard coming from this fan base last year? That's off. You guys remember what Alyssa Thomas said about the Angel Reese Chicago Sky sham investigation, right? Oh, if Angel says she heard it, then we believe that she heard it. That's off, right? Right.
By now, it was becoming clear that this wasn't just a basketball problem. Dana's numbers were down, but sources said the energy in the locker room had been off from the start. The trust wasn't there. Some even speculated that her partner, Alyssa Thomas, may have influenced her decision to leave. Alyssa had previously called out the Fever fan base for things she heard during games. Combine that with Dana's discomfort and a reduced role, and suddenly, this looked less like a break and more like an exit strategy. The fit just never clicked.
And look, I understand it's where she wants to go. Why didn't she go there in the summer? We know why, because she couldn't have got her max contract. And by the way, people are like, oh, they can give her the minimum. No, they can't. The Phoenix Mercury can give her a prorated $80,000 salary for the rest of the year. So she's only going to lose about 30K-ish. And she's only going to lose, she's going to lose about 40, 50K. Whereas they would have been only able to sign her earlier on. Well, they would only be able to sign her for nothing. Because again, we can't forget as well, the Phoenix Mercury cut Sevgi Uzun.
With the truth finally emerging, the Fever were left in a bind. Dana was still under contract, earning a max salary, but contributing nothing. Public pressure was mounting, and the front office had a choice to make: trade her for scraps or waive her to clear cap space. Both options hurt, but the longer they waited, the worse the situation would get. Her presence, or lack thereof, was casting a shadow over the team. Her salary was eating into the team's flexibility. It was a lose-lose, but only on the surface.
Nonetheless, Caitlin Clark continues to struggle. One of the worst games of her career, if not the worst game of her career against the Storm. I don't even think she had the playmaking prowess that she had in the first half against the Aces or the Valkyries. Still wound up with 9 assists, 8 turnovers though, 0 of 6 from 3.
When the team finally waived Dana, it felt like a blow, but it was quietly a blessing. She hadn't been producing, she wasn't showing up, and she clearly didn't want to be there. Removing her meant lifting a cloud of uncertainty. It gave the Fever the cap space to sign players who would actually play. That $200,000 salary? Now it could be used for speed, energy, and focus. Fans weren't celebrating the end, but they were starting to feel the relief.
I don't know what Stephanie White's doing exactly. I don't have a clue. Again, I don't know what the identity of this team is. I really don't. It seems like they play a different way every game. One could say, well, that's her game plan. She's game planning for each team. How's that working out for you?
While all of this was unraveling, one player felt the shockwaves more than anyone. Caitlin Clark. She had admired Dana. She saw her as the kind of leader who could teach her how to survive in a league that had already tested her patience and toughness. Back in training camp, she even said she wanted to win a ring for Dana. But now, Dana was gone, and not quietly. Caitlin was left to deal with the fallout, awkward questions, a team in flux, and the pressure to hold things together. Dana's departure didn't just leave a hole in the roster, it sent a message, one that could seriously affect the younger players looking for guidance. What do you learn when your veteran mentor disappears at the first sign of adversity? What do you take away when the highest paid player walks away mid-season without speaking to the fans? For rookies still learning the culture of professional basketball, this wasn't leadership. It was abandonment. And Caitlin, who had hoped to build something special alongside Dana, now had to find new shoulders to lean on.
Obviously, there were reports today that DB doesn't intend to return to the team. Just what conversations have you had with her and with the front office about that?
Yeah, I had a lot of conversations recently, really focused on the group that we have right here and what we need to do to position ourselves to win.
Throughout all this, one thing stood out: the total silence from Dana, her agent, and the team. No statement, no denial, no clarification. If the rumors were false, it would have taken just one tweet to shut them down, but we got nothing. That kind of silence doesn't just feel empty, it feels like confirmation. Even head coach Stephanie White, when pressed, dodged the topic. She focused on the players who were still here. That told fans everything they needed to know. Dana was done. Losing Dana wasn't the end of the Fever's problems. Damaris Dantas, another key frontcourt piece, announced she was leaving the team as well. Suddenly, the Fever were not just down a leader, but short on size and experience. This double loss created a ripple effect through the team. Coaching adjustments had to be made on the fly. Rotations were shuffled. Players were pulled into roles they hadn't prepared for. The Fever season, already bumpy, just got a whole lot messier. With two players gone, the chemistry issues didn't magically disappear. In fact, Dana's exit only confirmed what insiders had whispered all season. This team wasn't truly connected. From inconsistent playing styles to unclear coaching decisions, the Fever looked like a team still searching for its identity. Analysts questioned whether the front office had built the right roster at all, and with every loss, that question got louder.
No comment is a comment. No explanation is an explanation. If we were trying to get back, we would have said, oh, we're trying to get back. We're trying to work some things out behind the scenes so both parties are satisfied moving forward. We don't even get that.
Beyond basketball, this became a PR nightmare. The team had hyped Dana's signing as a major cultural win. She was supposed to be the one who elevated the franchise. Now, her absence, paired with silence and rumors, painted a very different picture. It didn't just hurt morale, it hurt credibility. Fans who had shown loyalty now felt misled. And in a league where community matters, that's a big deal. For Caitlin Clark, the mental toll was clear. Already under the brightest spotlight in the league, she now had to carry the emotional weight of team drama, locker room instability, and constant media scrutiny. Her body language shifted. Her energy looked drained. During press conferences, she sounded tired, not just from the games, but from the chaos surrounding them. She tried to stay positive, but the cracks were showing. Amid the disorder, one player did rise. Sophie Cunningham. Her on-court toughness and emotional fire became a rallying point. While Dana faded, Sophie leaned in, defending her teammates, talking to the media and delivering payback on the court. She wasn't brought in to lead, but she took the role anyway. And fans noticed. Sophie became a symbol of the grit that the Fever desperately needed.
It was reported last night that DeWanna Bonner had no intentions on returning to the Indiana Fever, and then the news broke today that the Indiana Fever had indeed.
After Dana was waived, the Fever acted fast. They brought back Arie McDonald, a guard with speed, energy, and urgency. The team finally started playing faster, something fans had been begging for. The culture started to shift. Natasha Howard and Sydney Colson stepped up to fill the leadership gap, and suddenly, for the first time in weeks, the locker room felt lighter. Losing Dana Bonner stung, but it might have saved the season. Her presence had become a distraction. Her absence, though painful, opened up space to reimagine what this team could be. More than anything, it gave the front office a wake-up call. Fit matters. Chemistry matters. You can't just stack names on a roster and expect magic. You need hunger, you need buy-in, and you need players who are in it for more than the spotlight. For Caitlin Clark, this season has been a brutal introduction to professional basketball. She's been knocked down, literally and emotionally. But this might also be the season that defines her. Because if she can lead through this chaos, if she can grow from this disappointment, she might emerge stronger than ever. And if the Fever use this as a lesson instead of a loss, they could still become the team fans believed in.
With the biggest story of the day, and that is the news that DeWanna Bonner is no longer with the Indiana Fever. It was reported last night that DeWanna Bonner had no intentions on returning to the Indiana Fever, and then the news broke today that the Indiana Fever had indeed.
You have people fearing the worst for her family. You have people fearing the worst for everything. You have people saying that they hope everything's good with DeWanna Bonner. It turns out she apparently is just pissed off that she wasn't starter.
At the end of the day, Dana Bonner didn't quit on just a team. She quit on a vision. She walked away from a fan base that believed in her, a locker room that needed her, and a young star who looked up to her. But her exit, while dramatic, forced the Fever to focus. Now, they have the opportunity to rebuild smarter, faster, and with players who are truly committed. And for Caitlin Clark, this is where the story really begins. Not with who left, but with who stayed and stepped up. Sometimes, subtraction is the only way to grow.